Was a girl running in our group. She had a high-speed motor in a 40 Ford Coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look out, buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
Huh. Okay. The CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Board, State Attorneys General. Everybody said, oh, they got rid of the Consumer Financial Protection Board. What are we car buyers going to do? The state attorneys general were originally set up to fill that void, leading to automotive regulation in lending and different, advertising. And they didn't use them. They made this new Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and gave all their buddies jobs. They didn't have to. The future of auto lenders and buy here and pay here dealers finance, vehicle finance regulation at the federal level is unclear. At the federal level, the future of it is unclear following reports that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, is closed, at least temporarily. It's closed. Trust me, they shut it down. And there's a whole bunch of people that got a lot of money from that bureau. I don't want to know, but I do. And they're going to post it all. They're going to get it all out there. However, state attorneys general have the power to regulate auto finance, and lenders shouldn't throw compliance to the wind because industry attorneys Ken Rojic and John Redding said this on February the 10th. They're watching you. Big Brother is watching you. This does not have an impact on the state attorney general's state examinations, and those will continue to be pursued, says Rojic, managing partner of the automotive finance group that the Nissan and Elliott law firms at that law firm, and they may intentionally or potentially take on a greater importance if there is a so-called regulatory vacuum at the federal level. See, you're not buying your car from Washington, D.C. You're buying it from a dealer in your town, in your state, or the state next door. This all needs to be handled locally. I mean, they're pretty much telling you since this last election, it's all coming back to you, states, and you better get your act together, because you're going to be doing this.
Well, and that's the inherent problem is now you're asking 50 states to get it together, and many of them can't.
No,
and they can't get along. So.
Well, they had it best when all they had to do was make a phone call to Washington and get their brother-in-law hired. It was better than this. Well, guess what? Nikola, another one named after Tesla. Nikola Corporation is exploring a possible bankruptcy filing. According to people familiar with the matter, following a tumultuous period in which the electric truck maker has swung between stock market darling and scandal-plagued enterprise. Oops. Well, scandal-plagued, we're getting used to hearing about that kind of stuff. The company is working with a law firm and a financial advisors to prepare a potential Chapter 11 filing, which would protect it from creditors amid a cash crunch. Oh boy, the people familiar said, asking not to be identified because they are not authorized to discuss the matter publicly. The plans aren't final and could change, the people said. A representative for Nikola said it was evaluating a variety of options, including the financing as part of a financial restructuring. In response to questions from Bloomberg, the Wall Street Journal earlier reported the potential filing. The company's shares were down 41% to 44 cents. Yuck. Penny stocks. When the market closed on February 7th, that's not good. Tesla told Bloomberg in late January that it was working relentlessly to raise capital in order to stave off a sale of the company. Well, Nikola has pursued various paths to bolster its cash flow, going through several rounds of layoffs. In December, it failed to sell up to $100 million of stock. Or it filed to sell up to $100 million of stock in the company. I think you can stick a fork in Nikola. I think they're done. I think they'll be sitting next to Stellantis at the big table at the wedding with the little kids, or at the little table, having more fun. Anyway, Stellantis. Charles, this is right out of your playbook. Stellantis on the hunt for a fecal terrorist at the engine plant. Now, we're not going to talk about, we're just going to call it fecal. We're not going to say anything.
You know, I saw this story and I said, I don't think I want to do this, and I don't think George wants. I think
this is
skip.
great.
Oh, okay, go ahead. If you're eating breakfast or something, take a break.
Yeah, Stellantis officials are trying to solve the case of the Kokomo contaminator. Bathrooms at the automaker's Kokomo engine plant in central Indiana repeatedly have been smeared with fecal matter. According to a memo posted on social media, the plant makes four-cylinder engines for the Jeep Wrangler, Compass, and Grand Cherokee. Smeared with fecal matter. Wiping feces on the bathroom walls, the disability handlebars, door latches, sinks handles, and the piles being left on the floor. Oh my God. I should have read this. Does nothing other than subject our facility and janitorial teams to potentially dangerous biohazards that are completely avoidable. Nothing, wrote R. Taylor Adams, the plant's well-being, health, and safety manager. That's got to be a nightmare for that well-being guy. It begs the question to us, why? What is it accomplishing to perform such thoughtless and careless and disgusting acts? Adams said the company has directed its janitorial contractor not to clean up after such events. Oh boy. And warned that bathrooms found in this grotesque state should be closed. But Stellantis did say it would continue to ensure that plant workers have access to clean bathrooms. I suppose I should have just read this whole thing first. But you know what, Chuck? If you're mad at the boss, smear your fecal all over the place.
Well, do that in the executive bathroom. Don't do it in the bathroom.
That's what I would do.
Your friends use.
I'd sneak in there. But then I think it was probably a janitor. I don't know. It's somebody's not right here. And this whole thing, that's just not right. Isuzu is going to build an assembly plant in South Carolina, even as the tariffs loom. I'm tired of hearing of these tariffs. People don't understand them, and the radical left is making them look bad, and they're not. The first two tariffs, they ensured border control. These two tariffs are on steel and aluminum. They're going to ensure American sales, and that's just what it's about. Isuzu Motors Ltd. Limited is investing $43 billion. I think that's yen, $280 million greenbacks, to build a new manufacturing plant in South Carolina. A timely move as Japanese car makers brace for steep tariffs on components imported into the U.S. from Mexico and Canada. I'll tell you a story about that aluminum thing once after we're done here on this one. Isuzu plans to have the site up and running by 2027 and aims to employ more than 700 workers there by 2028 and produce 50,000 vehicles annually by 2030. The company said on the February 12th. Yes, on February 12th, Isuzu left the U.S. market in 2009. They've been gone a long time. The company's best U.S. sales year was 1986, and it sold 27,000 plus vehicles. The plant will produce the automaker's N-Series gas truck in chassis 3.5. It's NRR, Class 5 electric truck, and its F-Series classes 6 and 7. Sean Skinner, president of Isuzu Commercial Truck of the U.S. and Canada, told the Automotive News. We plan to use a flexible manufacturing methodology that can accommodate demand for gasoline cars while keeping in mind the transition towards electric passenger cars in the long term, he said in a statement. Some tariffs are only further motivation for Isuzu to continue move production to the U.S., Skinner said. This is what it's going to accomplish, Charles. This is what those tariffs are for. You want to build a plant here? You want to sell your cars here? Buy the parts here. Buy the raw materials here. Aluminum and steel, I mean, come on. That's pretty basic, and we make some of the best steel in the world. The aluminum was usually originally only made over in, I don't know what you call that, where Romania and Serbia and Yugoslavia is.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Near East or something.
Something like that.
I don't know. But anyway, and they were having trouble with the tariffs on aluminum. So what they were doing is they were sending them to Mexico and then shipping them up north with no tariff because we had NAFTA.
Assembled in Mexico.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They had there was no tariff.
So there's this whole scam where you can basically process something through another country, put a new badge on it, and say, yes, made in Mexico.
Yeah,
no
made
tariffs.
in Mexico, absolutely. By these Mexican guys. Well, guess what? It's not. It's really strange how they did it, but you know what? For everybody that knows the system, there's somebody that knows how to skirt it.
They know how to play the game, right?
They know how to play it. It's not good, but hey. All right. Renault and Volvo Trucks have a joint venture called Flexus, and they announced 3 new full electric vans. They're pretty good looking vans. They look like commercial vans, delivery. Yeah. Renault will launch 3 electric vans, including a version of its popular midsize Traffic, it's called, as part of its Flexus joint venture with Volvo Trucks starting in 2026. In addition to the Traffic, Flexus is launching the Estafette, a larger model with a high roof that was previewed in concept form last year at the Golette. Oh, and the Golette, a cab chassis model. That looks like a pickup truck with a bed on it. The Renault brought out on February 10th. Renault and Volvo have each invested 300 million, looks like pounds or euros, million in the joint venture, and each will hold 45% stake. While CMA, CGM, whoever that is, invested 120 million euros, they get a 10% stake. Don't ask me. I'm good with math, but I'm not good with the deal math, and that's a deal. Flexus, and Renault did not provide detailed technical specifications or prices, but the vans will be have a range of up to 450 kilometers or 280 miles. Flexus said in April, when the joint venture was formally announced, that the full electric van market is poised to grow by 30 to 40% through the year 2030. Full electric van market going to grow by that amount. Chuck, is it feasible for delivery people or companies to use a full electric van? Is it 280 miles isn't very far.
Well, and I guess it becomes a question about your business. If you look at it and say, well, we drive on average 400 miles a day, that it's not going to work.
No, it's not.
But then also you say, okay, well, we only drive 200 miles a day, but we're also in a cold climate, so
that's still not going to work.
May cut it in half.
And you're going to have to charge it inside because 30% of the charge goes out in cold weather,
right,
even while you're charging it. So you can't never catch up.
Right.
That was the problem last year. And there's nobody talking about that this year. I don't know why. But there will be very soon. You watch. You watch. It's going to come. Because they're just not feasible. And they're definitely not feasible for the Northeast, the Northwest, or the North Central part of the United States, where it gets very, very cold. You don't believe me? Stick your toe outside.